Hello there, YouTube. It's time for week number 2 here in the Pokemon Premier League Champions Edition. It's season 2, and we need to bounce back from last week. Last week we were bested, but this week it's our time for revenge, as our opponent is none other than I'm Destroyer and the Emerald City Extreme Speed. His information will be down in the description. And I say payback specifically because we lost to him last season of the Pokemon Premier League. We got flinched like a mofo, so it's time for some payback. It's time to see what the shadows can bring to bear against I'm Destroyer. Can you tell that I enjoy saying his name? So again, be sure to go check him out in the description. Very, very chill, fun narrations on that end. But no more compliments. What did our opponent bring against us in this battle? I'm Destroyer has drafted Sneasler, Delphox, Corviknight, Sableye. Excuse me, that's Mega Delphox. Let me put some respect on there. Mega Delphox, Corviknight, Sableye, Mega Venusaur, Hatterene, Azumarill, Bastiodon, and Jolteon. Let's do a really quick and dirty team builder here, because going into this match, I actually wrote down the 6 that I thought I'm Destroyer would be bringing, and just looking at the matchup, I foresaw Mega Delphox, Sneasler, Sableye, Krookodile, Azumarill, and either Corviknight or Bastiodon. I was slightly worried about the Bastiodon coming with wide guard shenanigans, which was the primary reason that I thought that it could come into the team here. As far as what we have our Mega Glimmora. Here, I actually did not get stupid with the speed on it. I learned my lesson from last week's battle. We have enough speed to outrun the Krookodile, and then everything else is going into our offenses with the remainder in HP. Power Gym, Sludge Wave, Power Gym, Sludge Wave, and Dazzling Gleam. We ended up changing Earth Power to Dazzling Gleam at the last minute. Our next teammate is the Orthworm, which has Body Press, Heavy Slam, Iron Defense, and Shed Tail. Wait, this is not the right team. This is not the right team. This isn't magic. This isn't magic. What is this? I wish I had my Switch. Hold, please. Okay, rightio, mates. Where were we then? All right, so the correct team. I was correct with the Mega Glimmora. After that, we actually have Bellibolt. Bellibolt, week 2, coming off the bench. We've used this Pokemon before, but here it is designed to be a very annoying wall for my opponent. Plus, I just know when I play on the ladder in Champions, every time I see a Corviknight, if I do not bring my electric type, I get annoyed, because inevitably it sets up bulky physical moves, and then Flare Blitz doesn't do anything to my opponent, and then I just get annoyed. So Bellibolt here also has the ability Electromorphosis, and that means that if Bellibolt gets hit by an attack, it will do double damage right back. So Bellibolt is very slow, it'll get hit, and then I hit everything on the field with a Parabolic Charge, or I hit my opponent with Thunderbolt if I just need a lot of extra damage. Is what I was thinking there. But Parabolic Charge gets Bellibolt back HP. So that was the primary thinking with that mode. After Bellibolt, we have our Lumberry Basculegion. Primarily just there in case the Sableye tries to use Will-O-Wisp on our Basculegion. We will not want any of that smoke. Basculegion just has max attack and enough speed so that if I get a Tailwind up, I'll outrun the Mega Delphox. After that, our Musharna is here with Psychic, Helping Hand, Ally Switch, and Trick Room. Helping Hand is just really nice in case I need to do Helping Hand insert priority move. I could also do Helping Hand boosted Sludge Waves or Parabolic Charges, since Musharna's telepathy ability will stop it from getting hit by its partner Pokemon. Trick Room is just there because the speed tiers do favor my opponent here, so I can always flip those around if I need to. And Colbur Berry is the held item because that little Noki just might get hit by a dark type move, and in that situation I would need to make sure that we take that hit. Of course, Incineroar has to be coming to the battle. Incineroar this week has a weird set because it's almost completely specially defensive, just to switch it on the Delphox 100% of the time with the Choppleberry. Darkest Lariat, Overheat, Fake Out, Protect. In the event that Corviknight gets out of hand and I don't have Belly Bolt, I have the Overheat tech. That way I don't have to worry about bouncing back my own Intimidate from Mirror Armor for one. But also, if my opponent sets up Bulk Ups, I can still hit it really hard with Overheat. So that's what my thinking was there. And then finally, Noivern is our other form of speed control with Focus Sash, with just Tailwind, Air Slash, Super Fang, and Protect. I did not want to miss Hurricane here, and my opponent could totally set up Sunny Day, which would lower the accuracy of my Hurricanes anyway. So why deal with all that when we can just use Air Slash? We get the same 2-hit KOs like on the Mega Venusaur, for example, and it's much more reliable. Plus, we might even flinch. Not that I'm Destroyer would know anything about that. I'm not salty at all. Yeah, it's the game we play, I do say. So yeah, that is the game plan for this week. Another thing, brief update. I think I'm done doing live narration for a little bit. Those are very, very distracting when I'm trying to battle. And also, it's just not my style. I was doing them for a little bit because in my head I was like, oh, this is easier. I can just narrate during the battle and then boom, the narration's done when I go and I'm done and it hits it and I upload it and whatever. But that's not how I roll. I like the post narration as long as I do it on time. And I don't know, I just have more fun with doing things with my editor this way. Let me know what you like, but I know what I like, and I like post-com. So we're gonna roll with the post-com for at least this week, maybe next week, and we'll kind of come to things afterwards. Let's get to the battle. Okay, so as we get into the battle for this week in the PPL, one of the main modes that we have access to here is just leading with Noivern and Glimmora to hopefully set up a Tailwind and start throwing off Sludge Waves. We can see that I'm Destroyer has his Mega Delphox, the Corviknight, Sableye, Azumarill, Sneasler, and Crocodile. And so against these Pokemon, it's actually not horrible for me to lead with Incineroar as well. Another mode that I could just lead with that I practiced with was leading with Sharna and my Incineroar, because that's a good, reliable way to get up the Trick Room. The downside of that is that it's a little bit passive if I'm against something like the Corviknight. Like then in that situation, I'm not really able to two-shot it. And of course, Sneasler could always lead and get off a faster Fake Out. So really, it's best sometimes to lead with the Basculegion alongside the Incineroar if I'm trying to do something like that. So you can see here in Game 1, we are going to consider doing the Basculegion. I was really torn on the lead because while I did get the Pokemon correct that I called here, it was just Corviknight over the Bastiodon. I was like, if he leads with the Delphox and the Crocodile, and it's like Scarf Crocodile, that could just be very annoying immediately. He could also very easily lead with something a little bit different, like do the Sableye and the Corviknight and set up screens and be annoying. And so here I do decide to lock in the Tailwind mode alongside the Glimmora to hopefully spam Sludge Wave, thinking that hopefully Corviknight will not be in the lead slot. Corviknight does not want to take a Power Gem anyway, but you know, we have to make these calls. You can see that I'm Destroyer and I both have the fiery eyes there. We're still rocking it there. Actually, I found out that we're two of the most, I guess, tenured players in the league as far as like age goes, which is cool. We do see the Crocodile lead alongside the Sneasler. I was like, oh, okay. So this is kind of one of the modes I was a little bit afraid of. Here I am forced to protect with my Noivern because I don't want to get hit by a Fake Out and break my Sash. Noivern has enough speed to always outrun Sneasler, and Air Slash also gives me the opportunity if Sneasler happens to be Focus Sash to flinch it if I run into that scenario. But yeah, we're just going to protect our Sneasler and Mega Evolve, and then immediately Spiky Shield, so that way hopefully I don't get high horsepowered here. Because I was thinking if he led out with the Crocodile, it is probably Choice Scarf. I was hoping that it was Choppleberry, maybe. But here, just with these two leads here, I'm thinking that he's Scarfed. So we are going to go for the double protection. It's like wrapping it up twice there. We don't play any games. And this will telegraph a couple of things to us. Number one, we're going to just collect a little bit of information here. Number two, we get to see how the speed turns play out. If Sneasler does not go for a fake out, but we see the fake out and we see the rock slide, and I was like, oh, we're reprising rock slide again. Of course. It did work last time. If it's not broken, don't flinch it. Wait, no. If it is broken, you probably should flinch it. We're not going to play around with that. I know that I should be able to just get off an easy tailwind right here. And if he's going to go for rock slide, I'm thinking that he's scarfed and locked into that rock slide. And if that's the case, then I'm just going to stay in here and go for my Dazzling Gleam. This is a little bit risky because if he's not scarf, I could just lose Glimora right here. But I think it's worth it to see that all that glitters is Glimora. We do see that the Crocodile outspeeds everything on the field, so we know that it's Scarf now. And here I'm just hoping for no flinch, and I get it. I was very pleased at this. This means that I'm going to be able to break a sash on the Sneasler if it is there. We're going to do some great chip damage on the Crocodile. That's an easy 2-hit KO. And now we get to see what the Sneasler goes for, which is Dire Claw, which knocks out Noivern, which is unfortunate because Noivern only got to click Protect and Tailwind. But that means that I get maximum turns of Tailwind with something in the back. So we have a choice here. We can go Basket Legion or Incineroar, of course. I think that Incineroar is a little bit more passive in this situation just because it's not as offensive. It's a very bulky defensive build on my Incineroar. And so we go Basket Legion. I am not going to have to lock into any move, and I'm not worried because I have my Lumberry, and I'm not even intimidated. With the Tailwind, I am going to outrun that Sneasler as well. So here, I can target down the Sneasler with Wave Crash while going for Dazzling Gleam again. And this just covers for a couple things. Number one, it covers for something like the Sableye trying to swap in. It also allows me to just hopefully one-shot the Sneasler. And we do see that with the Tailwind, I outrun the Crocodile, which is great. I get a crit, but we saw how much the first one did, so that's just a little extra credit right there. And then Basket Legion here is going to send Sneasler right to the Basket Legion Pro shop. That is 1 KO for Basket Legion in this battle. And honestly, with the Tailwind up, this looks great. In order for my opponent to get control of this battle, they need to have Sableye in the back for another Tailwind. Not Tailwind, for another Fake Out. But they can't Fake Out Basket Legion. And even if they have, well, here we see Azumarill and the Delphox. And so we know that we're simply faster. Just because we know that we have the speed, because that's just how that works. Now we have a couple of options here. I think that the Azumarill is overall the bigger threat just because my Incineroar in the back should always beat down the Delphox, especially with my Choppleberry. But that being said, I don't necessarily want to Sludge Wave my own Pokemon here. Let's see what our opponent is going to go for. I do have a slightly powered up Last Respects because it is stronger the fewer Pokemon that you have remaining, and Noivern did get knocked out. So here I'm expecting the Delphox to probably Protect and the Azumarill to do something or another. I think it's a little bit telegraphed to try to protect my Glimora, but I didn't want to get hit by an Aqua Jet. We do see the Delphox Protect, which I was very pleased by, and we do see the Azumarill Protect. So here they're just trying to stall out my Tailwind, which I absolutely respect. But I'm happy that I went for the offensive turn this turn with Basket Legion, because now that means on this turn, if I want, I can use my Protect on the Basket Legion and go for Sludge Wave. Also, I have one more turn of Tailwind left, and so I don't actually have to go for that. I can just go for pure damage on this turn. So we are going to take the opportunity here to just get as much damage as possible. I was trying to waffle between who should I target down here, but really I just need to eliminate the Azumarill because it can do so much damage to my Glimora. And I am going to go ahead and cycle in my Incineroar because I'm thinking here, if I bring in Incineroar now, then I can get an Intimidate off on the Azumarill, and I can severely damage it. And if the Delphox goes for a Psychic type move into my Glimora, Incineroar won't take that much damage. He actually goes for the double Protect, trying to stall out the final turn of the Tailwind, so I could have just stayed in there and obliterated the Azumarill, but that is okay because now that my Tailwind runs out, now I have Fake Out pressure. So we can just go for the Wave Crash into the Delphox. Unless the Delphox grabs a triple Protect here, I'm not really that worried about it. And the other thing that's nice is that if I get a little bit more chip off into the Azumarill, then it will be dropping to an Aqua Jet as well. So we have positioned things very, very nicely here. We go for the Fake Out into Azumarill and the Wave Crash into the Delphox. And this is a very bulky Basculegion, so this Shadow Ball doesn't really do that much damage at all. Given that it was super effective coming out of a Mega Delphox, and then I just clean out that Delphox. It too can go shopping at the Basculegion Pro Shop. There's a really big Bass Pro Shop in Nashville, Tennessee. It's like a gigantic pyramid thing, and so I kind of think about it every time I see Basculegion, and I wonder how many souls are trapped inside of that pyramid. Anyways, neither here nor there. This means that our opponent's final Pokemon is a 5% Azumarill, and we're just going to pick it off with Aqua Jet, and that is battle number 1. So 1 victory here on the board, and so the question is truly, in battle number 2, do we run it back with the same Pokemon, or do we expect different Pokemon from our opponent? And generally, I always try to run back similar things that worked here, like the Basculegion was just really oppressive, for example. But if my opponent decides to swap it up and say bring the Sableye or go with the faster mode, then maybe the Musharna could have some real play here. One thing that I was thinking about though is we did not see the Corviknight in the first matchup. And so while I really liked the Incineroar, Glimmora, and the Basculegion here, I was worried that Incineroar and Glimmora could kind of get out pressured if there was something annoying alongside the Corviknight. And so in matchup number 2, we do decide to bring Bellibolt in the back instead of my Noivern, I believe is the swap out that I make here. There's a fly in this room and it is very distracting. Get out of here. When I find you, I will end you. One time when I was running a store, I took a shoe off my foot and I threw it through the air and I hit a fly out of the air. And as it crashed into the ground, I went, finish him! And then I stepped on it with my shoe on my other foot. And I don't know what that has to do with this battle, but it's just to say that if there's a fly, I will knock it out of the air if it is annoying. Once again, I'm Destroyer. We're just like, RAR XD on the, on the battle screen there. Love it, love it. All right, so we make the call correct. I didn't get the lead right, but we do see Sableye Corviknight. And that makes me very, very, very happy that I brought Bellibolt in the back. Here, I was expecting the Corviknight to probably start setting up. I could see the Sableye going for screens. It could go for Fake Out into one of my Pokemon here. And by one of my Pokemon, I mean the Glimmora. I figured he probably would not Fake Out my Glimmora because of my ability to use the Spiky Shield. He's just taking unnecessary chip if he does that. I also, you see there, I toggled on and off. I was like, should I not Mega Evolve because he fakes me out that I can get up a Toxic Spike? But in the end, I do decide to go ahead and go for the power of adaptability by Mega Evolving. Because if this Corviknight tries to set up, I need to get as much damage on it. And as Aaron Cybertron Zing says, I need to get burst damage on this thing right now. So we Fake Out the Corviknight. This stops it from at least moving this turn. But get a useless crit there. And we do see the light screen come out from the Sableye. So I was like, no, this thing's going to be so annoying. I was really hoping that it wasn't light clay light screen as well, because my power gem did so little damage. He can Roost that off because Roost recovers half of your HP. He can get that HP back very, very easily here. And with the light screen up, I can't even overheat and then finish him off from this range. So I was like, okay, what am I going to do here with the light screen up? I could just try to power gem overheat. I could also try to target down the Sableye. I feel like Sableye is very likely to set up the other screen here. And so I also was like, I think that Darkest Lariat will do more damage because of the light screen. I don't have any special attack investment on the overheat. So when I was looking at the calc, it looked like Darkest Lariat could do more damage. We see the Citrus Berry and it's back at half. It roosts, it's back at full. And while I'm happy I didn't lower my special attack, now my opponent has up both screens and I've done just piddly damage to this Corviknight. So we need to make a little bit of a change here. So we are going to look at our options in the back. Again, the whole reason we brought Bellibolt was to help deal with the Corviknight. Unfortunately, unless I have a Pokemon with Protect alongside the Bellibolt, using Parabolic Charge isn't great. But I could always just Thunderbolt and single target it. So that would be some really big damage. So I look at my options here and I decide to swap my Glimmora out and go for a little bit of damage onto the Sableye. Sableye in doubles does not often carry Recover, and we already saw the Citrus Berry on the Corviknight, so any damage I get on the Sableye should stick. I get a lucky swap here, and I bring Bellibolt in as a Thunder Wave comes out, and we see Iron Defense from the Corviknight, and I was like, no, this is what I was worried about. Now, Darkest Lariat does do respectable chip damage into the Sableye for their Reflect being up, and I was like, nope, honey, you've got a big storm coming if you think I'm just going to let you sit up. And set up and sit there and stand down and sit on it and try to set up all over my face. I will not allow it. I will hit my own Bellibolt to trigger my Electromorphosis, and then I will hit you with the most righteous thunder that you have ever seen. That was my thinking, at least in the moment. I was like, I should do a clean 60% to this Corviknight. So we are going to see our opponent swap out Sableye here and bring in the Crocodile, which means now my Darkest Lariat is going to do even less damage. And that's actually good, because that means when I hit my Bellibolt, I won't hurt it as badly. We hit our Bellibolt, he charges his power, and then he unleashes a mighty Thunderbolt, which immediately critical hits Corviknight and kills it immediately through the light screen and probably max special defense. Again, Electromorphosis would have allowed me to do around 60 to 70% damage, so it would have been a good 2-hit KO, but here we don't have to deal with that. That crit was also really important because now that the Crocodile is in, I am a little bit threatened with my Bellibolt being in here, and I can't easily swap into Glimmora. But on the other hand, I got rid of the Corviknight. So we see a Azumarill come in, which is also electric weak. And I was like, these two snackaroos can't KO my Bellibolt. But also, they could very easily KO my Incineroar. So what do I do when I'm intimidated and my Overheat isn't going to do any damage because of the light screen and the Reflect is up? There's just so many things in play here that basically neuter my Incineroar. With all that being said, I was looking at my options and I was like, maybe I should just Parabolic Charge to get a bunch of HP back from the Azumarill. The downside of doing this is that I don't really have a swap in. So I ended up changing my mind at the last minute and I was like, okay, let's just double protect to see what the Crocodile is going to lock itself into. We know it's Scarf from game 1, so there's no reason to guess here. If it locks into Rock Slide, I know I can bring in something like Glimmora more easily. But we see here that my opponent also protects the Azumarill, and that means that this Earthquake is coming out. And crikey dial, I don't have a swap into Choice Scarf Earthquake. On the plus side though, we've seen the Azumarill, the Sableye, the Corviknight, and the Crocodile. So my opponent also doesn't have, unless he's protecting at least, he also doesn't have something that can come in on the Earthquakes. I give a quick check to the light screen and the Reflect turns, and that confirms that the Sableye has Light Clay. Interestingly, basically no damage on my side of the field, so it's like a reverse of the first few turns with the Corviknight. Here I do go for Parabolic Charge, and knowing that my opponent is going to go for Earthquake with Crocodile, I was like, I can do critical damage to that Azumarill, and should I just KO the Azumarill, or should I try to get my HP back? Settled on the Parabolic Charge and the attempt at a double protect, because I wanted to see if I could just get good damage down on the Azumarill. Unfortunately, my opponent swaps the Azumarill out to the Sableye, and I fail the double protect. So while I am going to do decent damage to the Sableye, it's not going to look good for Incineroar. I suppose this is Bellibolt's revenge on Incineroar for smacking it in the back of the head like 2 turns ago. And the nice thing though is that it's kind of like it's absorbing the life force of everything around it. We almost KO the Sableye through that light screen, which was pretty impressive. And since I have so much HP investment on my Incineroar, I get back a good little chunk of HP from my Incineroar. So Incineroar, we have absorbed your life essence into Bellibolt, and we will go forward in this battle. Now with Incineroar going down, that does mean I get a free swap into my Basculegion, And this is fantastic because my opponent does not know the held item that I have on my Basket Legion. And I'm thinking he's going to try to paralyze it the same way that he tried to paralyze my Glamora earlier. Now I could go for a Muddy Water right here. We saw that the Earthquake isn't doing enough damage from the Crocodile. Muddy Water would certainly KO. Actually, no, with the light screen up, it might not KO the Sableye from this range. But I have a couple of options here. And I think that the best thing overall is to try to just go for good spread damage into both, because I'm thinking he's going to try to cycle out. So instead of doing what I just said, maybe we could just do good damage into the Crocodile slot. Now the proper move there, if I was going to do that, would have been to wave crash the Crocodile slot, because Earthquake would not have done that much damage to my Basket Legion. So we do get off the Protect, and we do Aqua Jet the Azumarill as it swaps back in. And that means he's going to be able to change his move later if he wants to. He goes for Thunder Wave into my Basket Legion, and I was very happy to see this because that means my Lumberry activates. And that functionally means that he just wasted that turn Thunder Waving. The other thing that I did not anticipate is that if the Crocodile wants to lock into Knockoff, now will do significantly less damage to my Basket Legion because it is no longer holding an item. Now that the Crocodile isn't on this field though, we are going to cycle our Protects just like our opponent did. And we're going to go for our Parabolic Charge to hopefully take out the Sableye and do critical damage to the Azumarill. And really with that option, I think I should just protect the Basket Legion. I could also try to get the Glamora back on the field, but that's just risky with the Azumarill around. I also considered Thunderbolting there, which you saw on the screen briefly. I just wanted the damage. I was like, should I target it down or should I try to, do I think I can KO this Sableye from this range? And we are going to try to go for the KO. And I'm happy that I did not target it down because the Crocodile comes back in and that intimidates my Basket Legion. I do get the Protect off, which is really, really nice. That this Thunder Wave does not paralyze me. So while the chance of not moving from paralysis has been nerfed, I still don't want to take the chance. And we are able to take down the Sableye with Belly Bolt. When I said that he had a big storm coming, I didn't know it was a Belly Bolt big storm, baby. I'm just saying. This is really, really good positioning. So even though Basket Legion is intimidated here, once again, we're going to be able to see what the Crocodile locks into. If it locks into Earthquake, that will not KO the Basket Legion. If it locks into Knockoff, that will also not KO my Basket Legion. And the thing about locking into Earthquake is his partner Pokemon Azumarill is going to also take chip damage from it. So I think it's much more likely that he'll lock into Knockoff or Rock Slide. And Rock Slide just doesn't have the damage output when it's not Stab. Like, yes, he has the flinch chances. Also, I can just Aqua Jet him. So here, knowing that I have the Glamora in the back, the bigger threat overall is honestly both of these Pokemon. But I'm thinking that I can finish off the Crocodile with Basket Legion. And so I need to focus on getting the Azumarill into range of a Glamora Sludge Wave. If it has like a Kebia Berry or something like that, then of course that's not going to do very much damage to it. So we are going to Aqua Jet the Crocodile, and we're going to see what he locks himself into. He locks into Knockoff, and we can see that that is not enough damage because of the Lumberry getting spent earlier. If I had the Lumberry, that definitely would have KO'd my Crocodile, my Basket Legion. Belly Bolt goes for the Muddy Water here, and that ensures that this Crocodile is going to be in range for what looks like another Aqua Jet. It might be right outside of the range. We saw that first one do like 20%, but that was with the Reflect up. So now that the Reflect is gone, he's definitely in range for my Aqua Jet and my 8 Trigrams. So we can easily pick it off with the Aqua Jet, and then we can use Thunderbolt from Belly Bolt to do massive damage to the Azumarill. Now the only way that we can fumble this at this point is if we, for some reason, just let the Crocodile continue to throw off moves. But since we know that the Crocodile is scarfed, it can't do anything. And I don't know if Aqua Jet from Azumarill would KO me from this range. Also, my Aqua Jet should go off faster than the Azumarill's Aqua Jet as well. So we take out the Crocodile. That frees up my Glamora in the back. And Liquidation doesn't really do that much damage to my Belly Bolt before it lets rip yet one more Mighty Bolt into the Azumarill. And that, ladies, gentlemen, those in between and not on, is the game. So thank you very much, I'm Destroyer, for a great battle. The crit into the Corviknight with the Electromorphosis boost absolutely mattered. And to that I say, I think that's just the game we play on those there. So I appreciate the opportunity to see you again on the battlefield, and I hope we get to battle again. This brings your Victorian Shadows to 1-1 in the Pokemon Premier League. This season, the season length is 7 weeks instead of 5. So unlike last season, one immediate loss doesn't boot us out of playoffs, basically. So we just have to keep on winning. So come on back next time, and you will have another battle here with the Shadows. In the meantime, I hope you have a wonderful night, and I will see you in your dreams. Goodbye.